Hello, my lovely students. This is your professor talking, and today I'm bringing you the part 5 of my mid lane guide called the opener. And I've actually worked pretty hard on this one. When I say pretty hard, I mean it took me a long, long time to get this one. Anyway, let's continue. So, the opener. So, what is the opener? The opener is what you call the first moves of the game. In other words, how you play the first wave or the first couple of waves. Having a phenomenal opener or the first couple of waves where you get, all the last hits and all the denies, or where you literally nearly kill the enemy, obviously will crush the hopes and dreams of the opponent coming into that lane, forcing him to think that you're a much, much better player than you actually are, and essentially, unwittingly, uh, he'll be playing very, very defensively, which is obviously to your advantage. This is more mind game than anything else, or the effect is more psychological. But this is just as important as any other skill in Dota. Okay. So, what is a good opener? What exactly is a good opener, and what do you do in the opener? A good opener is when you can get all the last hits and some of the denies as well. An ideal good opener is where you can get all the last hits and some of the denies as well. Especially if you get all the last hits and all the denies, that's just crazy. During the CS war, you also managed to get a few nice right-click trades on the enemy in your favor, and obviously, nothing says a great opener as getting the first blood on the enemy mid. Now, this is mostly, once again, a psychological factor, but this is very, very real. Right now, this is a clip I've added from one of my games where essentially I am the Lena, and the Queen of Pain had a really, really good opener, despite me having the high ground. I actually somebody randomed this Lena, and I ended up swapping with her. And I haven't played Lena in a very long time, and I just wasn't what do you call it, accustomed to the right click delay or the horrible right click of Lena, and I didn't get a lot of last hits. But the way the Queen of Pain played, you can see first she got the deny, and then she also got that from the low ground, that too, and she got the first last hit as well. She got the deny and the last hit, and then she just went on to completely decimate the CS war, right? So we haven't traded any right clicks on each other, but the last hit, the CS war, the Queen of Pain completely won. And let's see, at the very end, she was at, uh, God damn it, I believe she was at 2-3. Yeah, she was at 2-3, and I was at 1-1. And believe me when I say, I really felt crushed at this point. I felt like, okay, this guy is clearly a much better player. Um, at least he's a very accustomed to playing Queen of Pain, and I need to be very worried here, and I need to play more defensively and not underestimate this guy's skill. And in effect, that is exactly what you want the effect to be from a great opener. You want the enemy to be scared, you want the enemy of you, you want to give the enemy the impression that, hey, you are a really, really good player, and he's automatically gonna overestimate you a little bit, and he's gonna be worried, and he's gonna make mistakes because of that. Now, um, the deny plus last hit scenario, right? We're talking about what good openers are right now. So the deny plus last hit scenario, it's honestly the best feeling in the world. You saw the deny plus last hit from the Queen of Pain, the last clip, and that's, I didn't want to show the deny plus last hit in the last scenario. I just wanted to show the effect of a good opener that the Queen of Pain had on me, and I wanted to tell you, like, okay, this is how I felt, like really, really bad. I felt uh like I was, and because of that, it's a slight tilt, and because of that, I played the rest of the few minutes of the game in a very, very defensive position and very scared of the enemy. Anyway, so the deny plus lasted scenario is, it's really, really strong. What I mean is, when the creep waves meet, one of your creeps and one of the enemies will be getting damaged almost at the same rate. Usually, you both will go for the last hit over the deny and get 1 CS each. But what you can do, especially with a good creep log, is that um, when the creep block is on your high ground, you can start right clicking your own creep as soon as it's below half HP, lowering its HP faster than the enemy creeps, then go for the deny, followed by the last hit as well. This is dependent on so many factors. Is the enemy creep melee or ranged? Is your creep melee or ranged? Is your creep dying slower because the ranged is your creep dying slower because the ranged creep of the enemy is missing hits missing hits uphill? What is your enemy doing? Is he hitting your own creeps, or is he is he hitting your creeps, or is he hitting his own creeps? Essentially, you need to practice this trick a lot with real people, and I mean a hell of a lot. By the end of the day, what you need to be able to figure out is which creep is dying faster, and then obviously kill that creep first. However, if the enemy is actually hitting his own creep faster, then both of you will be fighting over the same creep. So you just have to use your nuke for that last hit and then focus on the deny. But if the wave is on your high ground, you should not use a nuke. Uh, Keep this in mind. I'll say it again. If the wave is on your high ground, try not to use the nuke, because you will push out the wave, and you don't want to do that. You want to maintain your high ground, and that's something we'll cover much later on in the series, in the mid lane guide. On the other hand, if the wave meets in the river, then what you want to do is you want to deny with your right click and immediately throw out a nuke to get the last hit as well, and you'll want to push out the wave essentially. Anyway, so this is a clip of actually Wagamama in one of my games. He played mid Venchi, and this is a clip where I kind of feel that this is a similar thing to the last clip, where this also goes to show the dominance of the dominant opener here, and how the enemy mid must have been feeling after the amazing opener from Vagamama. Now, Vaga missed his block. Now this is obviously not ideal. He wanted to have the block high ground, but note something very, very important here. He did not go for the aggro. Now this is something that you will see most people doing, and aggro is something we'll talk about in probably the next episode, part 6. But right now, I just want to have a quick word about this. He did not aggro because aggro would have helped Kunkka. Kunkka is the one who wanted to aggro, and he didn't. I don't know why he didn't do that, but he didn't aggro. Kunkka is the melee hero. Venji is the ranged hero. Venji is the stronger one. Kunkka goes in for the last hits. Venji harasses him. So ideally, Kunkka wants to get the aggro here. If Vaga goes for the aggro and the creeps are separated, then Vaga can't harass the Kunkka every time Kunkka goes for the last hits. Regardless, Vaga didn't go for the harass too much. What Vaga did do is he started. This is what I wanted to show you. Vaga started hitting his own creep immediately, and then he gets the deny. He gets the deny, and the wave is actually now in his favor, because 3 of Kunkka's creeps are hitting 4 of Kunkka's creeps are hitting 3 of his creeps, so the wave is starting to push slightly in Vaga's favor. So he got the deny and the last hit. I want to go over it one more time just quickly. So as soon as the wave meets, he starts hitting his own creep, he denies it, and then he starts going for the last hit. And I kind of want to mute this sound or decrease it. Sorry, I missed that one. What happened? Okay, so yeah, then he gets another deny, and he gets another last hit, and he gets another deny. So far, he's got perfect CS, and I can promise you, right about now, the Kunkka is feeling really, really crushed. And the only reason why he missed this deny is because he saw the Kunkka throw out a turret. Yeah, whatever. He saw the Kunkka throw out the turret, and he wasn't sure where the turret had landed. He thought the Kunkka had thrown out the turret right on top of his face. So he moved back, and you can see right now he moves back, thinking that the turret is on. Otherwise, I can guarantee he would have had that deny as well. So far, he's had, except that one deny, he's had exactly perfect CS. And last hits and denies. Okay, there's the first one that Kunkka actually got. And let's continue. How long is? Why did I make it this long? I mean, this just goes to show you how crushed this guy must have been feeling right now. Obviously, he knows that this guy is now much more skilled than the Kunkka is. And at the end, I want to point out a few things. At the end, uh, Venji is shit. Okay, so after this last hit, after this deny, Venji is 5 for 5. 5 last hits for 5 denies at 1 minute in. Kunkka is 1 for 1, exactly 5 times as much. If you notice Venji's HP, she's okay. She's missing, I don't know, 1/7 of her HP. Kunkka is less than half of his HP. So this is a phenomenal opener. All right, this is what you want to get in an opener. Um, I mean, this clip was supposed to be a last hit and a deny plus last hit, but I mean, this is it's just I guess it fulfills two purposes. Okay, so as I said earlier, if the wave is in the river or on the enemy high ground, then you want to right click to get the deny and use a nuke to get the last hit, which I haven't actually shown in one of my clips. I realize that now, but if you watch any pro game, pretty much that is what's going on in pro games. However, if you don't have a nuke, and if the wave meets, so if you don't have a nuke and the wave meets in the river or in the enemy high ground, then you just pretty much just go for the safe option, which is get the last hit. And the other thing that you can do is you can use creep aggro, and this is true mostly even more so when the creep wave is on the enemy high ground, because that is bad situation for you. So when the creep wave is on the enemy high ground, you 100% want to aggro and get it onto the river so that you can get some easy and safe last hits. So what you want to do is you want to aggro the creeps just as two right clicks are required. Almost two right clicks are required to get the last hit on your own creep. The enemy creeps will aggro to you and stop hitting your creep that's about to die. At the same time, the enemy is gonna throw out his right click, expecting the creeps to be low enough, but will obviously not get the last hit because his creeps would have stopped hitting it. Then you simply get the last hit and immediately get the deny as well, because the enemy creeps will now be closer to you than the enemy. The creeps will be closer to you than the creeps will be to the enemy, distance wise. You know what I mean. You can obviously streamline this even more so if you actually land one right click on your own creep a bit earlier, as you saw in the clip where Waga did. But the only difference is that Waga didn't aggro, and as I said, Waga didn't aggro because the what's his name, Kunkka, would have been at an advantage. But if Kunkka was a ranged hero and Vaga would have done, then what Vaga would have done is he would have done the same thing with the deny, just slightly different, that he would have actually aggroed the creeps right before the deny. Anyway, let's just look at the clip. Um, yeah, but most of the time, to be honest, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be aggroing just to get the last hit, and that's what I pretty much do in this clip. By the way, this is against bots because in a real world practical scenario, it's slightly different. I couldn't really find a good clip for that. I tried to go for the aggro to get the deny, but this bloody insane bot line is just too good. Regardless, what I want to show is you aggro and then you get okay. So once again, I didn't block the. I actually forgot to talk about it. I didn't block the creeps, and the wave ended up being in the river. So what I do is, as soon as the creep wave is about to die, now right here, I should have been prepared to click on the lion, and I think I might have. Yeah, then I might have gotten the deny as well. But anyway, so I aggro, and then this is what happens. I make two blocks or two segments of creeps or creep groups. There's three of my creeps with the enemy range creep, and three of the enemy creeps with my range creep right here. Now, the advantage to me here is that I actually go ahead and deny this creep, and now the enemy has to tank these two creeps or take them underneath his tower and force them to die, and he's gonna have a hard time last hitting. And also keep in mind that this range creep actually died without being under um, experience range for the enemy, which means not only did I get both the last hits, both the last hits, but I also ended up not just denying the range creep from the enemy, but also he wasn't even in XP range, so he didn't get half. He actually got zero XP for it, and I managed to. I keep look at how much damage I took. I took literally. I guess I took 40 damage, but I think I might have taken a little bit damage beforehand as well. And I managed to stay on my high ground, maintain my high ground. I'm gonna keep getting good CS or great CS. I'm not sure, but now the lion is on the low ground. The enemy is on the low ground. I'm on the high ground. He's gonna have a hard time last hitting. I'm gonna have a really easy time last hitting. I throw down this nuke quite early, you would think, but the reason why I throw down this nuke is because 4 of the enemy creeps are alive and only 3 of my creeps are alive, and I don't want the wave to push underneath my tower, so I want the wave to die really quickly. And I actually end up throwing 2 nukes because of that same reason. And now, as you can, well, now because I had to throw two nukes, the last nuke I had to throw because the creep was about to die and I would have missed the last hit, so I threw the nuke to get the last hit. So this is not exactly ideal. Maybe if I was slightly better at last hitting and slightly smarter, I might not have thrown the second nuke. I might not have needed to throw the second nuke, and then I would have had a much easier time maintaining my high ground. However, I managed to sort of get decent last. I mean, kill my own creeps fast enough to maintain my high ground and creep equilibrium. And at the end, I actually have perfect CS. Look at that! I had perfect CS every single last hit. And that is essentially what I mean. You use your knowledge of creep aggro and a creep equilibrium and creep movements to get excellent CS. All right, the last point here is that let's look at the next slide really quickly. The last slide is okay. I actually didn't cover that. If the wave meets on the enemy high ground, you want to immediately drag it back down to the river using creep aggro and nuke to get the last hit. I mean, if you drag it down to the river, it's going to be really, really hard to get the deny. However, keep in mind in the first clip, Queen of Pain did get the deny. So it's hard, but it's possible. So you get the deny, and you can potentially get the last hit using your nuke. If the enemy is not going to deny your creep, then you don't really need to use the nuke. However, try to use your nuke in the most efficient way. Try to get the last hit and harass the enemy as well. Now, I'm going to show you two clips from two clips to show practical openers from my own personal games. I will never ask you guys or expect people to play better than how I play, because to be honest, it's quite easy to play. Like, watching pros, it's not really fair because they practice for hours and hours at an end, right? They practice 14 or 15 hours a day, so you can't really expect to be playing at their level. But anybody who's watching this video can play at my level. So if I can do it, you can goddamn well do it. So these are practical examples. Now, here I have this first clip is how to have good openers, or how to open as an aggressive hero. Now, keep in mind, although I'm the aggressor here, what the hell is this laggy stuff? Although I'm the aggressor here, I am a Queen of Pain versus the Invoker. However, for me, holding the high ground and getting a good block is super crucial. And also, there's a very important reason why I didn't let the range creep through. Both the reasons are because there is an Earth Spirit in the game. And I know for a fact that the Earth Spirit is going to be... What the hell is this laggy stuff? Oh, this is so okay. Hey, it's just so right now. I know the Earth Spirit is going to be harassing me a lot, so I want to make sure that I stay on the high ground. Actually, I want to go back a little bit. I made a miss. I just realized I made a little bit of a mistake here. So what I want to do is, as soon as the creep waves meet, and as soon as I see the Invoker, obviously I want to throw out my stifling dagger. Now, I know the wave is on my high ground, and I know that I'm going to play defensively. So I'm happy to get the first point in stifling dagger, and that is also why I did not let the range creep through, because I want to have stifling dagger at the beginning. If I let the range creep through and the creep wave starts to push in invoker's favor, then the earth spirit comes in and suddenly I don't have blink, or if I have blink, then I don't have dagger and I can't play aggressively. So that's kind of the trade-off. So I throw the dagger, and my mistake here is I actually turned around within the creep range to right click invoker, and I actually ended up aggroing the creeps. So I ended up taking something like 80 damage unnecessarily. Regardless, I ended up getting a better trade on invoker. However, as you can see, I got the last hit, very similar to the last clip I saw. I showed you guys of the against the bots. I ended up aggroing accidentally. I was gonna aggro anyway, but I ended up aggroing too close to the creeps and took a lot of damage. So that's the mistake. But I got the two last hits. I got the melee creep and I got the range creep, and I isolated the range creep from the invoker, and it died without it being in range of the invoker. Now, this is another mistake I made. I pulled the creeps under the tower, and that wasn't that big a mistake. But the biggest mistake was the creeps were too far away from these three guys, and it ended up, those three guys ended up going all the way over there. I really, really wanted to have high ground, and because of that mistake, you're gonna see the Earth Spirit comes in and he misses me. If he, I mean, they wouldn't have killed me anyway because I am level 2. But if I wasn't level 2, or regardless, I would have taken a fair bit of harass, and all because I made that small mistake of not pulling the creeps back in. And he comes in once more, almost killed me. I am still playing very aggressively, regardless of the roaming. Okay, so another thing that this clip goes to show is, even though they have a roaming hero, right? I still am playing aggressively on this invoker. I am not playing defensively, and there are two reasons why I'm able to do that. Number one is because I am holding the high ground. I think that's actually the biggest reason. I am going to miss a few last hits underneath the tower, but it's a good trade-off. It allows me to keep getting some CS, keep staying aggressive against the invoker, and at the same time making sure the earth spirit doesn't come and harass me or attack me, because he's going to have to essentially go onto my high ground, or in this case go underneath my tower. So I go low. I went too low, so I went over there, got the shrine up, got a rune, etc., etc., got my jungling tinker. Okay, this is a ranked game. Jungling tinker to come to the shrine as well. We both shrined up, and I come back to the lane. Just 10 seconds, 5 seconds ago, the Earth Spirit tried to gank me as well again. They almost killed me as well again, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so this is a trick okay. So because of all the aggression and because of the way my opener went, this is where I want to show a little bit of the effect of the opener. If you notice, the invoker is playing super defensively, because every single time he comes close to me, I throw a dagger, I start right clicking him, I start harassing him. I'm very, very aggressive against him. I have double the CS compared to the invoker, despite the roaming, ganking, harassing earth spirit. And this is a trick I learned from Dendi, watching Dendi play cop. He used to, every time he had 2 points in dagger, 2 points in scream, 1 point basically by level 5. So this creep is about to die. The invoker is obviously thinking, all right, I'm going to go for this last hit. But what I do is I forego that last hit, I jump into the back lines, and I kill this invoker. I've seen Dendi do this so many times. And from back in the day, 6 years ago, I haven't seen Dendi play too much these days. It's all about miracle now. But anyway, yeah. So this is a great example of how to um, have a good opener, stay aggressive, be an aggressive person, have a good opener despite having a roaming hero, and get the most out of your lane. And basically, psychologically traumatize your enemy into thinking that you are way, way better than he is, and then he starts to play very, very, very defensive. Okay. The next clip is very similar thing, practical opener, but this time we're going to be doing the defensive. We are going to be the defensive party. So this is a puck against Queen of Pain. And now, okay, so before I start, if I wasn't so cocky, right, I would have, and if I was smarter, and if I would have been like, okay, this guy, if this was a very, very, very serious game to me, I would have actually started off. I would have foregone the rune. I would have started off at my tier 3 to make sure I get a great block, because it's super important once again for me to make sure that I'm on the high ground and make sure that I have a really, really fantastic block. But I'm an idiot and I missed the. Well, it's really hard to get the block on the Dire when you have 295 movement speed. The heroes with higher movement speed can do it, but otherwise you're gonna miss like I did. So uh, first thing I do immediately, as soon as the creep waves meet, I aggro. The reason I aggro is because I do not want to. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have anything leveled up. And the reason why I don't have anything leveled up is because I want to play a little bit greedy here, and I want to level up my what's it called, illusory orb at level 1. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that I'm not going to be in range of Queen of Pain's dagger. And that's also why I immediately aggroed the creeps. Once again, because of my aggro, it makes sort of two little sections. I'm safe from Queen of Pain for now. I can get easy last hit and deny. Oh, I actually got a last hit and deny. I didn't realize. So at this point, the Queen of Pain is now on my high ground, and I realize there's no way I'm gonna be able to avoid her dagger and play a bit greedily. So I just level up my what's it called, phase shift, because I know the dagger is coming anytime soon if I want to keep getting last hits. But I'm having a hard time. Okay, he could have denied that actually. Anyway, now it's a little bit better for me. The wave is on my high ground. It is gonna fall underneath my tower, but I'm gonna get level 2 quite soon. So I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not too worried at the moment. The biggest thing is that I'm playing defensive. The CS wise, I'm not doing too bad. Actually, there are four creeps still left. So what the Queen of Pain was doing, she was harassing me, and I took a lot of harass. And that's fine because she's the aggressor. She's gonna do a lot of harass to me. And let's see what I get at the end of all of these. Okay, so I, because of that creep, I got level 2, and now I get my illusory orb, and I did actually clip Queen of Pain with this as well. I tried to do that, but I think she could have avoided it. So this is the score. I'm actually got better CS than her. I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, the point is, this is how you play defensive, right? You stay on your high ground, you stay out of reach of the enemy, and you try to get all the last hits you can. If you can't get some last hits, it's fine. You tried, whatever. It's not the end of the world. And look at that harass. Despite being defensive, I can also harass because at that point I had creep advantage. Once again, aggro, bring it down, stay safe, stay at a safe distance. Even though I can phase shift the dagger, I don't want to phase shift the dagger and then take several last hits. The hell was that? I think this guy is really bad. Never mind. Okay, my Miranda tried to gank, failed gank. Don't know why the clip is so long. Nothing to talk about. Okay, so once again, I am gonna take a little bit of harass here. Never mind. Creep aggro, didn't aggro because she also aggroed at the same time. And now the wave is on my high ground at a very decent advantage to me. She's on the low ground. Okay, so this is an important point. This is a power spike because I've got the bottle now. I know she doesn't have a bottle. I have a bottle. She doesn't have a bottle. So this is an advantage time for me, and I should take the most. Okay, and I should make the most out of this time. So that's why what I do. I use my illusory orb. I actually miss a couple of one or two last hits, one last hit to do that much damage to her. Two last hits actually to do that much damage to her. But what I make sure is that now she has to play defensively. She has to stay out of the lane. She can't get last hits. I can get denies on her. And if I'd been only slightly quicker here, I could have actually gotten the kill here as well. So it's a bit sad, but it's fine because I zoned her out, despite playing defensively against the Queen of Pain. Oh, actually, I think, yeah. Okay, so I tried to go and find her. Um, Guy's an idiot. He didn't go back to base, and because of that, he ended up boom dead. All right. So because of the way I opened, and because of the defensiveness, she tried to stay aggressive. If you watch this again, you'll notice she's constantly trying to harass me. She's constantly trying to be aggressive, but she's failing to do so. She's being irritated by that fact, and she's trying to. She's like, oh my god, I want to stay. I want to keep doing this. And because of that, she made a bad mistake. She made a bad decision. She stayed in lane. If she'd been getting decent CS, good last hits and all that, she would have been like, I'm completely fine. I'll go back to base and I'll come back. But because she missed so many last hits and she knows it, she wanted to stay in lane a lot longer to get more last hits. And because of that, she died. And this is what a good opener will do. That is force mistakes on the enemy. All right, next clip. All right, so how to have a good opener. So how does one go about having a good opener? Well, first of all, as you saw from the clips, a great pre-block is extremely important, and it might almost be the only way to have a great opener. Not the only way, but it is extremely important. If you look back at the benefits of the creep block from the previous videos, you can get you'll really understand. You can get the last hits with more ease. You can get the denies with more ease. You can get the harass on the enemy with your right clicks and have a much better trade. And also you force the enemy to miss last hits, etc., etc., etc. Last hit practice. Okay, super important. Probably the most important. If you can't last hits, you can't have a good opener. Simple as that. In fact, if you're poor at last hitting, you can't have a good mid lane or a carry lane. Just play support or jungle. A good opener heavily relies on you being actually good, if not great or phenomenal at last hitting. Definitely, you have to be much better than the enemy. So it's crucial to practice last hitting on heroes you play often. And when I say practice, I mean practice for hours. As you saw from the first clip of me playing Lena, that I haven't played, a hero I hadn't played in a long time, and I had no practice with, I got decimated. There is no point trying to be a great mid laner if you cannot get 38-ish last hits in 5 minutes without any heroes, not even against bots. Just go to a practice lobby against zero heroes and just try to make sure you get 38 last hits minimum in 5 minutes, and you keep practicing until you figure it out. Number 3, lane dominating heroes, especially with the nuke. It's very hard to have a fantastic opener with a hero like Zeus, for example, simply because Zeus can't deny. He doesn't really care too much about the positioning of the wave too much. It's also quite hard to have a good opener with a hero without a nuke. But with lane dominating heroes, especially with nukes like Lina and Quap, having a good opener is somewhat of a breeze. I mean, hero composition matters, always. All right. Why is a good opener important, or the opener in general? I mean, if you haven't gotten that from the videos, let's just go over the points once more. It gives you an idea of the skill of the enemy and dictate how you want to play the rest of the laning phase. If your enemy just destroyed you in the opener, you will automatically play very defensively, even if you don't know it, even if you have a aggressive hero, as you saw from the Puck versus Quap scenario where I was playing puck, the enemy will have the upper hand for the next few waves if they're dominating, or if they've had a great opener. Similarly, if you've had a great opener, then the enemy will suspect you to be a much better player than him, and so he will play very defensively. When you play defensively, you don't take risks and you miss out on some CS as well, allowing the enemy to have a safer, stronger lane. Literally, this is where you both measure each other and test the waters to see how far you can go and what the enemy will allow you to do in lane. Um, when I play in a party of friends, I immediately know right after the opener if I'm dealing with a skilled midder or not. I said party of friends because my party MMR is horrible, really, really horrible. Unranked party MMR, that is. It's like in the, I don't know, like 2000 MMR below my regular MMR. Anyway, um, second point is a fantastic opener will demoralize the enemy and it'll force mistakes. Vice versa, if you get demoralized, you're gonna make mistakes. Sometimes when I have a great opener, the opponent will want to redeem himself on the next wave. He plays hyper aggressively. He is forced to play differently than he normally would, and this opens up room for mistakes, as you saw in the two clips. I can capitalize on these mistakes and then turn that great opener into a great. Of course, this is what you want to do, so you are the one who has to have a great opener, force enemy to make mistakes, and make it a great lane. Similarly, if you have been destroyed in the opener, it is important not to be psychologically destroyed or try to play differently. It's important to keep a level head and not to make mistakes. One drawback of having a good opener is that it will send the message to your opponent that you are good. Whether you are or not doesn't matter. It's gonna, that's the message it's gonna send the enemy, and he might request a gank. Not something that should deter you from playing well. It's just something to keep in mind and expect ganks and look out for earlier ganks than you would normally be accustomed to. Another thing the opener does is, I mean, going back to the previous point, I'm sure you've had games where um, you were mid and you were being destroyed by your enemy, and you're like crying in your mic, somebody help me, this guy is wrecking me, I'm having a hard time. So that's exactly what will happen if you have a really, really good opener. Anyway, another thing the opener does is set the tone for what you want to achieve in the lane. For instance, if you came into the lane with the intention of farming the wave constantly, but in the opener the enemy literally destroys you with his superior CSing skills, you want to instantly prepare to stack jungle camps or request ganks to get your to get the net worth you need, or initially expected. All right. Points to keep in mind before the opener. Of course, when you start off the lane, even before the lane really starts, when it's picking phase, you should be thinking which of these heroes are going to give me a hard time or gank me or camp me in mid. You need to look out for these heroes on the minimap constantly. If there are roaming heroes, you want to maintain your high ground, as you saw in my Queen of Pain video, and make it hard for them to gank you. Sometimes you might bring the courier to you immediately as the wave spawns. You want to think about if your courier can get sniped. If so, you want to make sure your courier either takes a safe route or just wait for 3 minutes to have the upgraded courier so it doesn't get sniped. Otherwise, wait till you can see the hero who can snipe your courier somewhere on the map, and then you can obviously safely bring the courier over to yourself. Boom, done. All right. It's a bit longer than my normal videos. Thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up if you like. Share with your friends. Maybe? Am I saying that? Yeah, sure. Share with your friends, guys. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.